I know that this aggravates you, especially when it comes to the Xbox marketing. We're going to get into, because the numbers came out. Matt Piscatella does what he does, and Xbox was down 28% in console sales. Sony was up; they were number one. Xbox was number three. Not a surprise.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got them.
If they would have bundled Call of Duty or at least Game Pass with the console for $200, they would have won NPDs.
Alright everybody, welcome back to another Xvault gaming video. Xvault here, and today, yes, we're going to go over that sweet salt. We got plenty more to come from, and just like the opening there, they've lost their minds as usual, so let's get right to the good stuff here, and without further ado, let's go ahead and jump to it. Alright, so like I said, what we're going to do is get right to the salt here, and featuring once again, Colt Eastwood. He doesn't stop. He makes a stupid post almost daily. I can make sessions purely on him. I'd rather not, but he makes it so hard to just ignore it. But let's just pull this one up for some fun here. As you can see, life can be amazing. It's even more amazing when a ton of Xbox exclusives roll in this fall and winter and continue in full force this console generation. Interesting, because this wasn't made too long ago, right? Just a couple years ago, so it's not like a decade ago or something like that, but lo and behold, we have these old receipts coming up, and you know what is even more amazing is the fact that, PlayStation gets those definitive Xbox first-party games coming over to that ecosystem. That's what I think is full circle. That's what's actually pretty hilarious here, so you gotta love these receipts. You gotta love the optimism, the little bit of shining, starry-eyed looks that they had back in the day. Back in the day being 2 years ago, however. Regardless, we're here now, and this is the future, and this is the recent turn of events, and you love to see it. But let's keep going here. For the next one here, Destin. It's been a couple videos since Destin's been on here, so here we have him back. Me, console sales are down for everyone. Internet, here's 5 paragraphs about why Xbox is bad and why PlayStation, Nintendo are doing fantastic and you're wrong and why your video sucks, with a laughing, crying emoji. So the funny part is, really the consoles aren't necessarily down as far as an ecosystem. Obviously it is for the Nintendo Switch because it's ending its life cycle. We're getting the Nintendo Switch 2 or the DOS, whatever they want to end up calling it. And of course, the PlayStation 5 Pro did give that booster shot, so to speak, in regards to console sales there as well. We're over halfway through the generation at this point, so yes, it is only Xbox. Yes, it is bad for Xbox, and that's why they're leasing out or whatever partnership they're going to be doing with a bunch of other third-party developers in regards to hardware, handhelds, whatever the case ends up being. So again, that's why people are laughing and saying that Xbox is doing bad, because they are. It's not a delusion. It's not some sort of whimsical thing that just popped up in their head. This is the fact of the matter, and this is why you get made fun of on a daily basis, because you flip-flop, and then on the other hand, you sit there and live in your own delusional world and pretend that everything's a-okay with Xbox, just like the rest of the delusional crowd that happens to follow you. It's not hard to understand when you're wrong or the consensus is wrong, right? Why is the Nintendo Switch down? Because it's ending the life cycle. I don't need to repeat it again, but it's common sense. He apparently doesn't seem to have any common sense here, and it completely shows, and here we are. However, let's get to our next one here. Now, this one's great because someone trying to force their opinion on the piece and the matter here, but we have HDORG Gaming. Congrats to Atlas West for Metaphor ReFantasio, the true game of the year of 2024. Man, what can I say here? I'm glad that you're forcing your opinion, that you think this is the true Game of the Year winner, but it didn't win Game of the Year for anybody. Not any outlets, not any Game Awards show, Golden Joystick, stuff like that. Now, it did win plenty of awards. We'll give it that, and we'll give it its credit where credit is due. It's a fine game, especially for its genre, and a lot of people did enjoy it, but the fact that you're so salty, you have to sit there and poke the bear that this is the true Game of the Year, not Astrobot, which was a cultural phenomenon, in my opinion, as far as what a 3D platformer is, how it holds, where it sets a standard, where it sets the bar. But here, you can't help but make a case for yourself here. So somebody with who you are and the followers you have, I mean, what kind of tone does that set? You can say, in my opinion, this was the game of the year for me, blah, blah, blah. A lot of people said that for many different games other than Astrobot, but you're going to sit here and stew about it and try to act like this was the true game of the year. No ifs, ands, or buts. Look, buddy, we all have different opinions, and even my personal game of the year was Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, not even Astrobot. Very close second. However, we all have our difference of opinions, our playstyle, stuff like that, but you don't see me out there going like, you know what, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was the true Game of the Year winner, hands down. No, in my opinion, and in my own list, in which I did create it, is Game of the Year. However, I'm not going to sit there and undermine any other game, whether that been Black Myth Wukong, whether it been Metaphor. No matter what the category was, I wouldn't do something like that because that's just tacky and, of course, again, salty. But let's get over to our other person here. Astall is really trying to make a case for the fact that he wants to be up there with as much of notoriety as Colt Eastwood is on my channel here, but here we have him nonetheless. Astall, clickbait article, The Outer Worlds 2 is not coming to PS5, obviously, only on Xbox PC, but it shows that Xbox has no games is a myth because inside them, they beg for our games. So now he calls an article that he was using common sense like the rest of us was doing and seeing the direction that Xbox was leaning towards. He now calls that port begging. He has no definition or understanding of what port begging is. That's what makes this really comical. And the fact that the best piece of this is, well, he was wrong. He was completely wrong. You love to see it. These receipts are phenomenal. I love to bring them back up because it just shows how asinine they all are, right? Anybody with a head on their shoulders could be like, yeah, this isn't looking good for insert brand, right? If they were doing the exact same thing even Xbox was doing. You can insert any brand if they were doing the same thing. A lot of people were calling it out. And I'll bring up again Google Stadia. We even had some fanboys of Google Stadia that denied, almost up until the day, denied what was going on here. And you're going to have people like Astall and so on and so forth do that. And then you're going to have the Colt Eastwoods of the world do that as well because, well, they're doing it. They know better. But they're doing it for the grifting purposes, to not lose their audiences, to not lose that income, the ad revenue, whatever the case is. They're going to continue to do that. So you're going to have a few different sides of that coin, essentially, right? But let's go on to our next one here. And speaking of Colt, like I said, we have so much we could fill up week after week after week of Colt. He doesn't stop posting stupid stuff, right? And from the past, present, future, whatever the case is. But he states Elder Scrolls, Fallout 5, and Starfield exclusive to Xbox, and of course, posts what Aaron Greenberg has here. And you can, of course, pause this video if you want to read all of it. I don't need to read all of it. This was back in 2020, but again, you see that glimmer of hope in their eyes of what the future of Xbox was. And I was very, very upfront with everybody. Being an Xbox fan even, not even a fanboy or a shill, just a straight up fan, and said, look guys, I don't see, and I wasn't the only one there of course, I don't see how Game Pass is going to work out for you guys. I don't see your exclusives staying exclusives, that being the smallest piece of this ordeal, right? That being the smallest piece is your exclusives aren't going to remain exclusives. Worst case scenario, Xbox ends up going the Sega route, which means they're going to be mostly third party, which means they're going to dabble in a little bit of everything, right? We've been telling them this, but they believe the lies of Aaron Greenberg, Phil Spencer, the used car salesman, and everybody else because they were out having meet and greets with them, having lunch, brunch, what have you with them, still do to this day for the most part. So they believe every word they do. And then, of course, it's a meal ticket. So, of course, you're going to sit there and just bolster all this up. It doesn't, whatever the case is, whatever analogy you want to make. But essentially, that's not a good look. And we have tons and tons of Colt Eastwood and company receipts from this. And they continue to do so to this day as the videos provide that proof. But let's move on to the next one here. Now we're looking for real attention. Maybe the clicks aren't really there. But we have Kidmoo here. He recently, if you haven't been following along, he did buy himself a PlayStation 5 Pro. He is an Xbox dude. He's also bought himself a PlayStation 5. He's bought himself a PlayStation 4. He's bought multiple of them because he'll buy them, he'll sell them, garner for attention, buy, sell, buy, sell. It's a repeated circle, right? So here he posts again, right? Again, this shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. As soon as he bought one, a PS5 Pro, I knew this was going to happen. And here you have it. PS5 Pro for sale, $575, only 7 hours of use. If you feel like you didn't get use out of a system that has the bells and whistles with it to utilize multiple games, A, you bought it for the wrong reason because you're not utilizing it for what it's giving you. 2, that's not enough time to really divulge into a lot of the games that is PS5 Pro enhanced. So again, being a hater, and what we're ultimately doing is garnishing engagement, right? That's exactly what we're doing is hey, we need these clicks, we need these comments. I'm going to make a video on why I sold the system yet again, because one of his most popular videos out there is why he sold a PlayStation 4. If you look that up, that's one of his most popular videos. I wonder why. It isn't, I sold my Xbox, he would get less. It's because he's creating that drama and that fantasy and the sheep mentality of that cult-like behavior for the Xbox fanboys and shills. That's just how that works. Kind of pathetic to see. It's like clockwork every single time. It's not even a surprise. Like, nobody should be shocked or surprised at this point, honestly. It's really pathetic. It's sad. Kid, I expect much better from you. One of those that's going to go down with that ship of Xbox going full third party and still deny it way after living off in Delulu land right there. But let's get to some more delusion here, because we're not done. We're not done. So we haven't featured this person too often here, but we have XGameKid or XGamerKid by his hashtag handle here. The PS5 Pro is only 3% faster than the Xbox Series X, but it comes at a much higher price, $800 Euro, compared to $499 for the Xbox Euro. That's a $301 difference for minimal performance gains. So again, this guy, and we'll just break this down real quick here. Real layman's terms. He's lying out his ass. He has no numbers to play with as far as performance-wise, and minimal is really downplaying what the PlayStation 5 Pro does. And to those that understand what it does for the frames, for the lighting, the ray tracing, luminous lighting, you name it, right? The resolution enhancements, all that stuff. It's more than 3%. I don't know where he's getting the 3% from, but common sense, again, you can add up, you can use your analytics, data, whatever. It's simple to understand that it would be more than 3%. Whatever that percentage is, it's more than 3%. I promise you that. So really trying to downplay it and just talking out his ass here. There's no rhyme or reason behind this other than damage control. Please don't buy a PlayStation 5 or a PlayStation 5 Pro in this instance. Go ahead and buy yourself an Xbox, where they're basically going third party though, guys. So you can get those definitive versions on the PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 5 Pro. However, please don't buy one and buy an Xbox and really do a disservice to yourself at this point in time if you haven't invested in one or the other ecosystems at this point in time, right? If you're doing a clear slate or a clean slate of this, you haven't really entered, or you've had both and you're looking to choose one or the other, these kind of folks is what's going to, if you're really casual, you're going to look at this and be like, oh, this guy must be telling the truth. He's on here and he has quite a bit of followers, whatever the case is. You might latch on to that. That's where we have a problem here. That's why I do what I do. I've mentioned that multiple times before. That's why I do what I do. Kind of differentiating itself here and just speaking the truth of the matter here. And if someone's out there lying or flat out just fibbing, whatever the case is, you hate to see it, but hey, we have it here and we can make fun of it. And feel free to roast them in the comments, because this is bullcrap. Plain and simple bullcrap, talking out his rear. So, but let's finish up with the last post here, right? We don't feature this individual that often either, but the new legal here, he is pretty horrible in regards to spreading misinformation and doing some stupid stuff here. But here we go. I send my condolences with the flowers emoji. Come on over where there's a great gaming community and the engagement is up, where the world is fun playing Xbox games. Jump in. 100 has the Xbox signal, and of course the bicep emoji, and then the green check mark, because you just need all these to follow up with it, and has the meme, of course, of 423 days without a first-party AAA exclusive on PS5 with the sad Spider-Man in the rain in the background here. So now he can kind of call out that it's not a AAA game because Astrobot's a AA game, right? So if you're thinking, well, Astrobot was a first-party game, you're absolutely right. And it was Game of the Year. So now we're moving those goalposts yet again, right? This is why I don't feature him very often, because you see how shallow this is, right? He goalpost shifts, and I don't really deal with goalpost shifting all that often, except for the higher up people that know better. Higher up shills, if you will. But it's really pathetic here, and I'm sorry, I will take a AA Game of the Year any day. I will take Final Fantasy VII Rebirth for a timed exclusive any day, being, again, my personal Game of the Year, as well as Stellar Blade, Rise of the Ronin. I mean, you can't compete with that, and they're going to sit there and say that it's been that long, when they've gone over 2 years. Over 2 years on the Xbox side of things, when they were entering the console generation. That should not be a thing. That should have been unforgivable from the beginning. That's absolutely embarrassing. It was handled poorly. They should have been running on all cylinders. They had the funds. They had all sorts of, they had all the stuff to make that work, right? They had the connections, they had the backing, they had the studios, they had the IPs. And when I say they, we're talking obviously about Xbox. They had everything needed to make that ecosystem at the time truly special, and failed multiple times. And I haven't gone into this in quite a few videos, but that's the truth of the matter. So for those of you that just joined this channel, I've expanded on this in the past multiple times, that there is absolutely no reason for Xbox to fall on their face. They chose the wrong path multiple times. They don't know how to manage anything. They don't know how to follow up. They don't know how to direct. They don't know how to produce. They don't know how to run a business appropriately. Good Lord, good thing they have Excel and Word and all their other apps and Windows and all that, right? Because the way that they're running the gaming business is really horrible, and they keep continuing to make horrible decisions in that gaming space, and that's why they are where they are today. And again, if you're going to go in there believing somebody like this, that's going to be a problem for yourself in the future, because once you invest in something, you don't want to pull out right away. You've usually invested, right? You start off, obviously you probably already have your monitor or TV or whatever you're using for your display, but you're going to go out and you're going to spend $400 plus just on the system alone. You're going to spend more money on the, controllers. You're going to spend money on a couple games and stuff like that. So by the time you're done, you're probably getting close to $1,000 of an investment in an ecosystem. And if you go on a whim and find some person like this all casually, and you think that's true, and that option B or C or A or whatever you want to choose is not there for you because of this, and you think, well, that's the wrong choice, that sucks. That sucks for you as an individual, as a casual, new gamer. Maybe you've been out of it for a little bit. You used to be a gamer, you're coming back into it. You see this, you don't know how the landscape or ecosystem's been shaping up because you haven't been following along. That's the problem here. So I do feel bad for those individuals. That's why we do this. But talk about damage control, talk about salt, talk about trying to find a W when your ecosystem is all in shambles here and they're all but third party. That's pretty bad. So enjoy that, of course. But that being said, we'll wrap up the video here, of course, folks. I appreciate it. If you stuck around for the entirety of the video, I really appreciate that as well. That helps out the watch time and the algorithm, all that, as well as leaving a like and commenting. Both those things do help out the algorithm. Would love to hear from you as always. And if you haven't, definitely consider subscribing, helping out a small content creator like myself. We are definitely well on our way to the 3,000 sub goal, so thank you so much. I know we're going to hit that much sooner than later, so thank you, thank you, thank you. And of course, just always remember, don't be a salty batch. And we'll see y'all next time on the next Xvault gaming video. And until then, take care.